Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Riordan, and today I will be talking about some of the books BookTube made me read, so let's get started. So probably the most significant book series BookTube has ever made me read would be the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. And the reason why I say it's the most significant is because I had read the first 3 books back in middle school, I think, and I assumed it was done. Like, I thought, okay, you know, City of Glass, boom, we're done, this is over. But then she was like, just kidding, and, you know, she released Infernal Devices, and then she finished the Mortal Instruments, and now she's got, you know, Dark Artifices. I think that's what Lady Midnight's called, but, like, I don't know for certain. And I was just not ever gonna bother to read these. I was just like, nah, I don't need to do that. But then just everyone is always talking about this book series. I won't lie, part of the reason why I read it is because I really enjoyed the first season of Shadowhunters, but to be honest with you guys, I haven't even watched a single episode of the second half of the second season because I just don't give a damn anymore. So I decided, you know, to pick up the Mortal Instruments, and I decided to pick up the Infernal Devices because of BookTube and just everyone talking about them, and I'm really glad I did because, like, they're fantastic books, and I don't think I would have read them if BookTube hadn't told me to, so, like, I'm grateful for that, and also just the fact that I have the entire Mortal Instruments and Infernal Devices in hardcover, and in the new paperback editions. I was not expecting this to happen when I joined BookTube, but here I am, surrounded by multiple copies of books. And I'm not even sorry. These next books that BookTube made me read is the Shatter Me trilogy by Tahira Mafi. As you can tell, I only have the first 2 books. So Whitney from Witty Novels is, like, obsessed with this trilogy. I would put money down that it's her favorite trilogy of all time. And so I decided to pick them up, and the first one was not that great at all, and the second one was really not that great at all. So I was just not ever gonna read them. I was done. I'd had enough. But then, you know, Whitney keeps talking about how fantastic Ignite Me is, and then Jill, my best friend here on BookTube, is like, you have to read Ignite Me, it's the best one. So I finally bit the bullet, and I listened to the audiobook of Ignite Me, and I was pleasantly surprised. Easily the best book in this trilogy. You know, I'm happy that I read it and, you know, finished it, but this is one of the series that, like, if I hadn't read because of BookTube, I don't really feel like I'd be missing much. But yeah, the only reason I picked this up is because of BookTube. This is not something I think I would have gravitated toward had I just been, like, wandering the shelves and like, had seen it. I don't think I would have been like, oh yes. So next up, this was Tasha from Tashopolis's fault, but I read Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. This is the only book in the Outlander series that I have read. The series might still be ongoing. She just released one a couple years ago, I think. But I really did enjoy Outlander. I never got around to reading Dragonfly and Ember, and I genuinely don't think I will, because I found this video here on BookTube. I can't remember the girl's channel name, but I will put a link to the video up here if you're interested in checking it out. And basically she kind of talked about the problematic elements of Outlander and Dragonfly and Ember, and, like, gave spoilers for both books. So if you haven't read both, or you don't really feel like reading both and you're, like, okay with being spoiled, then definitely go check out her video, because it really kind of opened my eyes about just kind of how problematic Outlander can be. I did enjoy it prior to seeing her video, and then after seeing it I was like, oh wow, that's, like, actually really horrible. But my uncle had given me a copy of Outlander for Christmas, I don't even know, years and years and years ago, before I even realized BookTube was a thing, and I kept it because he gave it to me, but I wasn't interested in reading it until Tasha had talked it up a lot on her channel, and then I finally read it. So I am happy that I read it, but now I recognize some pretty big pitfalls with it. I still enjoy it. Like, I don't, like, hate it or anything, but there are problems with it that I am now aware of. But yeah, this wasn't something that I was going to pick up until I heard a lot of people talking about it and giving me a better synopsis of it than the one that was on the back. I'm glad that I waited until I was older to read it, but also it's BookTube's fault. And then it's BookTube's fault that I got this gorgeous edition of it. This is the 20th anniversary edition. I think you can still probably find it on Amazon if you are curious. So I'm not really going to talk a lot about these next books because you guys know that I love them, but BookTube made me read every single one of Sarah J. Maas's books that are published to date. I'm sure I would have picked them up eventually had I not joined BookTube, And it did take me a while to pick them up. Like, I didn't read them until after the publication of ACOTAR, and at that point, I think like Queen of Shadows had just come out. So you had these 5, give or take, and then I read ACOTAR, and then I read all of them. Or, like, I got into them right before the release of Queen of Shadows. So I feel like eventually I would have gotten into them on my own, because that is very much up my alley with the fantasy and, you know, the high fae, and then especially with the Beauty and the Beast retelling and ACOTAR. But BookTube definitely made me read it faster than if I had just been, like, on my own. I definitely would have read, I think, ACOTAR on my own, but I'm not sure when it would have, like, when I would have gotten to Throne of Glass had it not been for BookTube talking it up a lot. Because even then, it took me, like, 2 to 3 years of BookTube talking up Throne of Glass a lot before I finally actually bit the bullet and read it. And, like, I'm super happy I did, but it did still take me a while, so thanks, BookTube. The next series that I read because of BookTube is the Bloodlines series by Shatter Me. This is the continuation of the Vampire Academy series. And I read Vampire Academy way, way before I joined BookTube. But I started reading them, like, right after I finished Twilight in, like, 8th grade, maybe. 7th or 8th grade. But I never picked up Bloodlines because Rose wasn't the main character and I didn't care. But then I kept, you know, hearing people talk about Bloodlines, and I decided to just, you know, give it a shot after I had kind of reread a bit. I think I reread the first 3 Vampire Academy books, and then I jumped into Bloodlines. Like, I didn't reread Blood Promise through Last Sacrifice. I don't know why I didn't. But these I would blame BookTube on entirely, because I wasn't sure if I was ever going to read them. And I hadn't even bought Bloodlines prior to BookTube, and, you know, I'm really glad that I did, because I did really enjoy the series. It's not as good as Vampire Academy, but I really did like it. So, thanks again, BookTube. You know, you just get me to read all my favorite things. That, like, missed my foot by an inch. That could have been kind of painful. Next book BookTube made me read is 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. At the filming of this video, I have not yet read Crooked Kingdom, but BookTube definitely made me read this one, and I'm really glad they did. In particular, I would blame Jill for this, because it was just, she talks about it all the time, and she loves it in Crooked Kingdom, and I'm really sorry that I haven't read Crooked Kingdom yet, but yeah, BookTube definitely made me read this one, and I'm so grateful because Kaz Brecker puts the cute in execute, and I need to read Crooked Kingdom and make sure my baby's okay. I'll get there eventually. BookTube also made me read the Ruby Red Trilogy by Kirsten Gear. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I had seen these books in the stores, I would have been like, wow, those covers are gorgeous. And I might have picked them up, I'm not sure. They weren't getting, like, really, I hadn't really seen them in my bookstores, honestly, until I bought them all online. So I might not have picked them up until way after the trilogy ended, because, like, now I see them quite a bit in my bookstores. But I don't know when I would have gotten to it had BookTube not talked it up a lot during their releases, and I'm really glad they did, because these books are really good, and they're really pretty. They're honestly some of the most beautiful books I own. I love them a lot, and Gideon's super hot, and Gideon. So the next books that BookTube made me read, I don't currently have out to show you because they're already packed away in boxes, but it's Rick Riordan's Heroes of Olympus series and the King Chronicles. I read Percy Jackson in middle school, was obsessed with it, loved it, it was absolutely phenomenal and fantastic. But I didn't read Heroes of Olympus because when the first one, The Lost Hero, was released, Percy's name wasn't on the synopsis in the back, so I did not care. And then eventually, people on BookTube were talking about how great it was and how much they loved it and how they were so excited when Percy came back in The Son of Neptune, and I was like, oh, okay, so Percy is here. I was a little bit annoyed with the Roman elements in it just because Rome just came along and stole everything Greece did and gave it all new names, and it's just real uncreative. But I really did enjoy that series, and I'm really glad BookTube made me read it. And then same thing with the King Chronicles. That took slightly less prompting from BookTube to make me read. As soon as I kind of read Lost Hero, I was like, I should read his Egyptian one because I love that. So I kind of credit BookTube with that just because they made me get back in. Like, BookTube made me get back into Rick Riordan, which made me read the King Chronicles, which I'm real grateful for because I don't get a lot of books that talk about Egyptian mythology, and I'm all here for that. And then the last book that I'm going to talk about today, even though, trust me, there are loads more, like Divergent, you know, The Selection, the Splinter Trilogy. There are a lot more that BookTube made me read, but the last one I'm going to talk about is just A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This is the first book in a trilogy. I haven't read the last two yet, but I really loved it. I genuinely don't think I would have picked this one up outside of BookTube because BookTube is kind of the reason why I'm reading a lot of the adult books that I'm going towards now, because BookTube has recommended them to me, and I am a new emerging adult reader, so like I need the recs. But I really love this one, and it is so fantastic. And V.E. Schwab is a wonderful human, and I love her Twitter, and I love her YouTube channel. She's just so great. So I'm really grateful that YouTube made me pick up A Darker Shade of Magic. Right, so those are just some of the books that BookTube made me buy and BookTube made me read, and I'm not even upset about it because these are some really fantastic books that I really love, and I'm so happy to have read. But like I said, there are loads more that I didn't mention. Just like looking up and down my shelves, I see, like, you know, the Kiss of Deception trilogy. I haven't finished that one yet, but I was enjoying the progress I was making. You know, The Wrath and the Dawn. You've got any one of these books that I haven't necessarily read yet. His Fair Assassins trilogy, you know, Anna Dressed in Blood, which I totally would not have picked up outside of BookTube at all. But, yeah, you know, BookTube's really recommended some really great books to me that I'm super happy for, and I hope that along my channel I have introduced you to some of these, you know, really great titles or whatever. In a comment down there, let me know what books BookTube made you buy or read. I would love to find out. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and hit that red subscribe button to keep seeing more of my videos. I post videos every Monday, and then typically on Thursday if I have extra time throughout the week to film. But, you know, that's only if I'm really lucky. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Links in the description, as always, to my Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads. Go follow me on those platforms if you want to stay up to date on my reading and personal life. And I think that is everything. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!